As we go ahead and get started, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Elena Gardner. I'm the Director of Sales and Marketing with LodeStar. And today I'm joined with Bobby Palmer from Byte Software, along with Isaac Strader, also from LodeStar. We will be swapping out Bobby after a brief moment for Mark Todd, who will help us with some of the Q&A at the end. Before we jump into everything about LodeStar, I'd love to give Bobby a little bit of a chance to speak about Byte.
Yeah, I'll make it real quick since we're already a couple minutes beyond here. Just wanted to say thanks to everyone for taking some time out of your day to join us for this walkthrough with the integration between LodeStar and Byte. This is something that we're looking to do a little bit more of these types of things throughout this year to try to make it a little bit easier for everyone to see some of the technologies that you all have access to with the various integrations we have in place at Byte here. So keep an eye out on your emails as we continue to do more of these throughout the year. And again, thanks to Elena and Isaac for their time today too to walk through this with for all the Byte clients. But I think as she mentioned, yeah, use the chat for questions. We'll try to get to many of those as we can at the end. And that was really all I had to say. And we'll turn it back over to you guys. Thanks.
Awesome. Okay, a little bit about LodeStar before we get started here, and I'll hand it over to Isaac at that point for a live demo of the platform. We are a small business, so we are a team of about 15 people, but we are the largest team dedicated to fees in the mortgage space. So we're really happy to be meeting with you all today to tell you a little bit more about us. We were founded 9 years ago, soon to be 10 in August. And last year we had one cure for every 22,000 quotes run through our system for our lenders. That's a huge deal for those of you who are working with that. Our average support ticket resolution time is 4.5 days. And our average time savings per file versus a manual process is 10 minutes. We are 100% independent and manage our own fee database. And we were on the Inc. 5000 list last year as well. We do support a good number of loan types. I'm not going to read these all off, but this will be available to you if you have any questions. We do also guarantee all of our fees in our Byte integration. So we have all of our title insurance fees, all of our settlement agent fees, and then as well as our recording, as well as city, state, county transfer taxes, and all of those additional fees. We are going to do a Maryland file here for you today. And I'm going to go ahead and hand this over to Isaac.
Great. Thanks, Lena. Let me go ahead and share my screen here. Great. Can everyone see that okay? Okay, perfect. So let's jump into Byte here. So I have the Byte environment pulled up. As Elena said, we are integrated with Byte to automatically populate all of your Section C and E fees into the Byte environment. And this eliminates the need for the LO or disclosure desk, depending how you do things at your business, to copy and paste fees, reach out to title agents or attorneys to update fees. We handle all of that for you. So to access LodeStar within the Byte environment, I just used a macro to create a button here. Again, when onboarding LodeStar, we will have a macro that you can put anywhere in your Byte environment. Now, as you can see here, when I click the LodeStar button, it automatically pulls through all of the information into the loan file. So the state, county, file name, amount, purchase price, and transaction type. The one thing I want to highlight here briefly is that we do not intake any PII to perform our calculations. No borrower information, SSN, nothing like that gets pulled into or read by our servers. The only thing you need to do at this point is select the title agent you wish to disclose with. Again, we can customize this menu for you per state, county, and transaction. Yeah, what's up, Bobby?
All I'm seeing is the Byte screen that says launch LodeStar. If something else opened up, I'm not seeing it.
Oh, thank you. Let me do that real quick. That was an issue last time. I apologize.
Nope.
Here we go. It's that button. There we are. Sorry about that, y'all. Let's start this again. There we go. So
that's what we're looking for. Thanks.
Yes. No, thanks, Bobby. Appreciate it. So when you open LodeStar within Byte, you'll see here it opens up a browser window, which you need to share your entire screen for it to become available to your attendees. But it pulls through all of the information automatically. So everything you're seeing here has been pulled through from the Byte loan file into our calculator. And the only thing I need to do at this point to get an accurate quote is select the title agent in this menu. You'll see one has been defaulted here. We are able to customize this menu per state, county, and transaction type. So for example, if you'd like to see one subset of agents for Maryland purchases, you'd like to see another one for Maryland refis, another one for Maryland constructions, we can support all of that for you. Additionally, in Byte, we have a few additional fees here, a few add-ons that we can support. We can support appraisal fee quoting within Byte. You'll see here I have my demo ANC loaded in automatically. Any AMCs that you do business with, we can support. And we're also integrated with the nationwide appraisal network for appraisal fees in all 50 states if you don't have a preference. And additionally, we can populate some inspection fees and other services. These first 5 here are currently live in our system for our customers: pest, survey, well inspection, flood cert, and septic. You'll see down here structural engineering, radon inspection, and home inspection are currently in development. Those should be done Q4, Q1 next year. Those will be live for our customers. So it's not a VA loan, but we'll throw in a pest so we can see what that looks like. Okay, you'll see here below, last point in our calculator. And again, all of this is managed and maintained by LodeStar. You'll see because it's a purchase, I'm defaulting the recording page counts for deed, mortgage, deed of trust. Again, that does vary per state, as you know, and we manage those amounts in our database. And those are automatically detected by our calculator from the loan file. So once everything has been selected, and again, kind of a long walkthrough here, but when onboarded, we aim to default as much of this as possible for your LO, so that if the LO doesn't know which agent, they don't know anything about the AMCs you work with, they don't know if there should be a deed or an assignment recording pages considered, that they can still go into our calculator within Byte and hit calculate to get accurate fees.
And now, while Isaac is switching screens here, I just want to answer a few questions based off of these 2 screens. We can set up any title agent that you work with. In our system, we'll go ahead and customize this list to you based off of your historical data, as well as your questions that you have for us. And we can also manage multiple AMCs within a single state as well, and put those in the drop down for you to select between, or even if you'd like this to be something along the lines of defaulting based off a transaction type or property type. And I think that should be good.
Okay, great. Thanks, Elena. So as you'll see here, the screen has generated all of the fees that I ordered on the previous page. Again, we aim to default as much of that as possible for you to ensure there's not a lot of clicking that has to occur for the LO. And this screen you see here is just a reference. You'll see the appraisal fee and pest inspection, those optional fees that I added on. All of your title fees or attorney's fees, depending on the state. Of course, we do work with attorneys as well. And then in section E, you'll see a breakdown of your transfer taxes, buyer and seller paid. One thing I do want to highlight here is that our data team does account for all 3,000 plus counties in the country. Again, they maintain the fee schedules for various municipalities all the way down to the township level. We're based in Pennsylvania, which is a commonwealth, so we have townships that affect these fees. And we will default all of our government fees to the jurisdiction of that property. So for example, in this Maryland file, you'll see the taxes have been split 50-50. Our data team does default to what is customary for that property. So if you're not sure who's paying the deed tax, should it be buyer, should it be seller, our team accounts for that. And in contract states like Florida, for example, we do default to the buyer side, but can customize that per your request, per state, of course. Last thing I want to point out here, again, we do account for your owners and loan policy, your simultaneous fee and discount. Again, that does vary per state and county in some cases, and our data team monitors that information and guarantees those fees. Now, as I said, this page here is just a reference. The only thing the LO needs to do, or disclosure desk, whoever's using LodeStar, is click the export button to move everything back into BytePro. And you'll see here, I got a confirmation that fees have been mapped in. So I'll close this window and go back to my fee worksheet within Byte to look at the fees that LodeStar has populated. So as you can see in my fee worksheet here, the fees have been populated in automatically. The first question we get a lot of times with Byte users is, how does LodeStar know where to map these fees? During onboarding, all we would ask for is your fee schema, the closing cost export from Byte. We would input that information into our database to ensure these fees are going into the right place in your fee worksheet. So as you'll see here, the appraisal fee and pest fee down here, again, those optional fees have been mapped in. Buyer-seller splits, recording fees, title fees, transfer taxes, all of that has been populated automatically. And of course, this will be mapped into other relevant areas of BytePro, like your LE page 2, so on and so forth. Okay. Actually, we'll take questions here at the end. I don't want to get ahead of myself. We'll finish this Byte walkthrough and then we'll take questions. As you see, we do populate your shoppable providers list with the title agent quoted, which in this case was our demo system, of course. And then the pest quote I ordered was populated by our national provider, which is Robbins Consulting out of Nebraska. And with every LodeStar quote in your store documents folder, we generate a PDF of that quote. I will drag this over here and make it a little bigger so we can all see it. If you do get hit with a cure when using LodeStar, as I said, and Elena said, we guarantee all of your title fees, your government fees, your owners and loan policy, and populate them automatically into Byte. But if you are hit with a cure, we would reimburse you in the form of a bill credit on your following invoice. And this, again, is a record of the LodeStar quote within Byte. Again, the inputs and outputs of our calculator, what fees were generated, what the results were. And this is what we would need if there was a cure to evaluate that. That process takes about 5 to 6 business days to examine the cure and issue you a bill credit. And as you can see, it has, again, the recording documents used, the title agent, the additional providers, the AMC. Again, if you want to support those additional fees, you'll see those here as well. Recording fees, endorsements, what have you.
Awesome. And we have some additional questions as well. So Isaac, actually, if you want to pull up that document as well. So for the owner's title policy calculation, we do that math in the calculator. So on the sheet, Isaac, if you wouldn't mind going back to the demo screen.
Oh, yes. I could do that.
With the document there. So we go ahead and would calculate disclosed owners as 300. We do that math on that follow-up sheet between the three. But we would only disclose the owners as 400 in that case because of, to make sure that we disclose the full 1,000. That is asking about that for the CFPB calculation. And then we currently do not support branch defaulting at this time. Not great experience. Similar, of course. So in comparison, honestly, with Closing Corp and Ernst, we will never speak negatively of our competitors. Our biggest comparison is honestly going to be one, within the Byte environment, we are a separate entity. So it really allows for a lot of customization on our side that you can do outside of Byte and then push back into your Byte configuration. And then also customer service. That's a big thing for us. And honestly, our data accuracy, this is all we do, and this is all we plan to do. And did I miss anything, Isaac, on the Byte side?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing we hear from our Byte customers is that in all 50 states, our calculator accounts for specific fee scenarios and recording documents and relevant calculations for transactions like refinances. We're working with a lender who lends in New York. And CMAs are a big issue for them. And so part of what we offer, if I can go over here, I'll even show you all what this kind of looks like, is if you are in New York, we have the ability to account for things like CMAs that might not necessarily be, again, mapped into your Byte environment. You might not have those fields created for your LOs, and all of that's managed from the calculator side. So if you are, it will break if I try to pull these fees through because this is not a New York file. But if you are contending with very complicated fee scenarios and you'd like to add, again, as you can see here, it's referring assignments and modifications in that CMA. We account for that in our database and our calculator so that you don't have to alter or update your BytePro environment to account for additional fee scenarios that are very complicated, like lending in New York or Maryland or Florida. So again, the flexibility we have, because this is a browser pop-up as opposed to a kind of root integration into Byte, allows us to handle those customizations on our end, making your customer service experience very, very easy and very seamless if you do want to support some of the more complicated fee scenarios.
And then also one person did ask in the chat, and I'll just address it here. We do have the ability to pull reissue or full title insurance rates depending on loan policy based on date of last issue or prior policy amount. We can support that. And then we can also, we do support the sales tax on title insurance in Kentucky as well. And the sales tax portion can be split out in the line. It's actually base customization as well. So you don't have to worry about that. It's a standard in our system. We believe in best practices. In regards to COCs, so changes to the loan amount, purchase price, anything that would trigger that, we do require a rerun of LodeStar, but based on our pricing model, and we'd be happy if you want to schedule a private demo, go over pricing with you based on your volume and really dive deeper into that and your needs and custom configuration. But we do charge a flat fee starting at $4 a file, which you can redisclose as many times as you'd like within that $4 for 365 days. We've got another question coming in.
This is Mark. Can you guys hear me okay?
Hey, Mark.
Yes.
I saw one question. Yeah, I work with Byte. I'm not on the LodeStar side of things, but I've heard lots of our customers, mutual customers, say great things about LodeStar. I saw one comment that said that somebody had had some experiences with some of your competitors and wanted to know what sets you guys apart. And you guys kind of skipped over that one, but I'll take it if you guys don't mind.
Yeah, go for it.
I think, you know, their competitors are solid solutions too, but I think what we've noticed with LodeStar is I think there's been some lost in translation with the other vendors. I think LodeStar brings people that have a grounded knowledge not only of the technical side of fees, but how mortgage people interpret fees. There's the scientific way to understand fees, and then there's the way your closer experiences fees. And I think sometimes there's been a lack of communication with some of those other vendors. May have good technology, but lack an understanding of how the rubber meets the road. And I'm probably not saying it well, but I think what I've seen is it's always been communication. And I've seen people eventually figure it out with those other vendors. But when I talk to the LodeStar customers, that does seem to be does seem to be something people say you guys get right out of the gate, is you get their setup correct and you work with them almost consultatively. Like, I know you're not experts at fees. I know you're experts at closing loans, but let me translate that to you in your mortgage world rather than here's a tool and good luck. And so I'll commend you guys on that. And I think that is the difference maker.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
We really appreciate it. Going into some of these other questions, the fees are based on any loan you disclose on with LodeStar. We do have monthly minimums and all of that we be happy to jump into in our demos. And then also, how customizable can you get with lender fees and appraisal fees? So currently, lender fees are something we are in beta, specifically in Byte on. So that's not something we're fully supporting to new customers yet, but it is something that we are looking at in the future. And then appraisal fees, we can get pretty customized. I'd be interested in talking how deep you want to go. But we can do things automatically right now, like on construction properties, we automatically add a final inspection fee because we know you're going to need it and stuff like that. So we really want to make sure that we are supporting that for customization. Loans disclosed. So anytime LodeStar is run on a file. So if you go into your Byte environment and run LodeStar, that would be the first trigger of the file charge. So if you're not running it on pre-quals, you're never going to be charged. And then we're going to dive a little bit into implementation, because this is always one of the bigger questions we get and bigger concerns we get with lenders as well. Matt, I agree. Mark does need to, I should get all of what he just said quoted and like put on a bumper sticker for us or something. We're going to talk a little bit about implementation here. This is always a big struggle. Our standard implementation takes 60 to 90 business days. And I'll let Isaac dive into this since he is our resident Byte expert and walk you through this.
Of course. Thanks, Elena. So the one thing I'd like to highlight here when onboarding with LodeStar, as Mark so generously said, is that we're attempting to help you streamline this process as much as possible and really build our tool to your environment. So you don't have to go into your fee worksheet and change a bunch of your fee names, change your mapping, change your workflows. We're going to default our solution to whatever you have in place in your Byte environment. Now, at the start here, we would need to know what title agents you'd like to set up in our calculator. Again, we customize that per state, county, and transaction type. So if you have a point of contact and email address, we can onboard those into our system, as well as with any AMCs that you work with. All we need is their fee sheets, fee matrices to put into our calculator if you'd like to support AMCs. And then this is a Byte specific piece here, is that we need your fee mapping schema. So if you go into, I believe, tools, closing costs, you can pull a report of your fee mapping. We would need that during onboarding for us to be able to determine where those fees go. You'd have a kickoff call with our customer success team to review customizations and confirm timelines. And a very, very short call, but a few things that we like to gather during this calls. Do you have any specific customizations you're desiring? For example, one we get all the time is in Florida, right? If you're lending in Florida, some of our lenders love to default all those transfer taxes, those intangibles to the buyer side. Some of our customers like to give the LO the choice to move them to the buyer side, seller side, or split them. So questions like that we want to know upfront to, again, customize our calculator to how you like to do business. Again, not what may necessarily be what some other lender does, because every lender does things slightly differently. Now, set up here, we build our tool to your Byte environment. So our customer success team configures the Byte integration and mapping, onboard any agents and AMCs. That process takes about a week. And then I'm sure you're all wondering where the but is coming in. The testing phase here is the critical lift for your team. Now, it's very simple. It's very easy, but extremely, extremely important when working with LodeStar. As I said, we do not intake any personally identifiable information. Our integration is a RESTful one, which means that we are not continually reading your Byte environment and your Byte file. Again, that's a design decision by our team to ensure the privacy of your borrowers and of your company. So during the testing phase, what we need you to do is to run some test files with LodeStar and ensure that everything is mapping in correctly. You don't have any customizations you'd like to make or change. And again, you don't have to tell us if the fees are correct. We are guaranteeing those will be correct. This is more to ensure that your shoppable providers list looks perfect. The fee worksheet looks perfect, that everything is to your specifications. That process takes about 1 to 2 months. And again, it's extremely important. It's very, again, collaborative, back and forth with our customer success team, who are amazing, to ensure that everything is perfect in your Byte environment. And then lastly, once you give us a thumbs up that everything looks good, we will do a training call or two with your LOs or disclosure desk folks to walk through how to use LodeStar and any questions they may have. Additionally, in the training phase, we do have a support center with videos and PDFs with information of not only how to use Byte, but also some ways that we handle very niche specific fees and state fees. And then at that point, you are live. So as Elena said, from contract signed to live, it's an average of 60 to 90 days for our customers, and the bulk of that being the testing phase, which is the crucial step for your team. Okay, Elena, I will turn it back to you. Or actually, if you want to go to the next slide, Elena, I can walk through some of these points of implementation as well.
Perfect.
So with implementation, we will set up for you all 50 states in the country. Again, states you may not be licensed in yet. There's no additional charge if you add licenses in the future. Let's say you don't live in New York, but you're gluttons for punishment and you'd like to. We can add New York at no charge in the future if you do add additional states. Training documentation and videos, support center access, as I said. a complimentary first month of service, which means that your implementation fee covers your first month. We don't double dip with the minimum the first month and set up for 10 out of database agents. So again, bird's eye view here, we really want to make our integration map to your environment perfectly so that there is no issues with buy-in from the sales team, that everyone's easily using it, they're comfortable with the tool, and you're eliminating those tolerance cures in the LE, as well as just frankly enabling the LO to disclose in about 4 seconds when using LodeStar. So again, thank you for your time. I will stop now and give back to Elena to take us out.
Awesome. Yeah, and I do see Hans and Becky talking about branch specific defaults and lender fees. It's definitely something we'd be willing to have a separate conversation with you. Our lender fees are in beta, as I previously mentioned. So not saying for sure that, we're hoping to get that tested in Byte pretty soon with one of our existing co-clients here. But we'd be happy to talk to you at more length separately to see what your needs would be there. Any other questions before we wrap up today? I want to make sure that we've gotten a chance to answer everything for everyone. I saw someone was typing and then it disappeared. So we'll give everyone a few seconds here. And we want to, awesome. Yeah, we want to make sure to thank the Byte team as well for coming on today and for sharing this with all of their clients and Bobby's support with that. We're really happy with our partnership with Byte, and we're happy to be here today. Awesome.
Likewise, I think it's a value enhancing relationship.
Perfect. Well, we'll make sure to go ahead. We'll provide this link to the Byte team so they can share it as well, because I know some people had some issues with beautiful spam filters. As you know, in the mortgage industry, we are very protective of our emails. And we'll go ahead and send all of that over for you guys so you can have access to this post show, along with the link to book a private demo with Isaac, and we can really dive into your specific needs, any additional questions you have. And we're happy to demo states for you. I know someone mentioned Alabama. We're very happy to demo states like Alabama for you. We do work in all 50 states. I like to say we were founded in New York, so we can do anything. So awesome. We can demo Texas, Carolyn. Perfect. If you do want a demo, you can go ahead and drop it in the chat. We can reach out to you afterwards. Just let us know, and I have everyone's emails, and we can reach out separately. I'll have Isaac reach out, so you can just write demo, and we'll email you to get that scheduled. Awesome. Well, everyone else, you're welcome to hop off, and thank you so much. We'll wait here for another minute as the LodeStar Byte team, but we'll wrap up as well. Looks like we should be pretty wrapped up. Thank you again, Mark, and the Byte team. You guys can hop off. I think we're down to, trying to think who's left here. We're mostly, I think,
fun.
our
I appreciate
team.
you guys.
And yeah, thank you guys so much for joining us.
Yep. We'll talk
Perfect.
soon.
We'll email everyone post
Take care.
thing.
Thanks, y'all.
Super duper. Thank you.